Hi, Mark here from the Club 365 team, and in this short video I'm going to show you just how quickly you can build a shopping list for all your family to use. The reason I've done it is yesterday I shared some ideas about how you could get into the Power Platform and learn if you don't like learning all the theory. I'm like that. I like to get stuck in, get my hands dirty and build real world solutions from the get-go. And so what I did in this post here, I suggested that you obviously set yourself goals. And you could perhaps build some of these. Time recording app, event management app, customer feedback app. But I then realised actually if you're say a school leaver or somebody completely new to the Power Platform and your company doesn't actually use it, or maybe you're out of work, it's probably quite boring to do some of these. These are the kind of apps that will be used when you actually get a job in the Power Platform and you want to use it. But right now they're just going to mean nothing to you. So I was scratching my head thinking, well, what's an app that everybody would really understand? And I think that one of the main apps is a shopping list. So obviously a shopping list, if you imagine it, you've got 4 members in your family and you all want to, one person go shopping, and normally you'd probably write it down on pieces of paper, or maybe you've got a bit more advanced told Alexa, but let's just assume you haven't got that. And instead of giving scraps of paper to whoever goes shopping, you probably want to have a nice, cool app that goes, do you know what? I'm really hungry. So whoever goes shopping next, I want to be able to put some chocolate on there. Or, oh, we're out of toilet rolls. These kind of things. So if everybody on their phone has got a Power App they can use to create a single shopping list that one person can go to the supermarket with and then go down and say, I've got all those bits. I thought that'd be quite cool. And everybody understands that because everybody needs to feed. We all go shopping. So what I did, once I had that idea, I then created myself a blog post that's on the powerplatform.com, and it's under fundamentals, and it's called Power Platform Practice, Build a Shopping List for your app. And I've written it, and I want to make sure all the steps are okay, and I thought I might as well just turn the camera on and show you the thing being built, because some of this is quite brief and you might get stuck, so I just want to show you live what's going to happen. So the first step in the whole journey really is if you haven't got the kit to actually build the app, you're screwed from day one. So what you need to do is you need to go and get yourself a Microsoft Developer Tenant, and I think it gives you an E5 license. So you're going to get all of Microsoft 365. You're going to get all of the Power Platform for 90 days free of charge. So this is the most brilliant way to actually start learning. And all you do is you click that link there, and this will go take you through to the Microsoft Developer Program. Don't get scared about developer because you're not going to be doing any development. It's a bit of a weird name Microsoft gave it, to be honest. Click there, you go join now, and you put some details in, complete the registration process, agree to terms and conditions, and then after the registration, at some point in the future, you will get access to it. It can be really quick, it can also be really slow. So what I've done is I've pre-done it. So I've got a developer tenant here, so you can see here I'm logged on as Club 365 Challenge. It's a weird email address that you'll also be given. And with that I've got Teams, I've got OneDrive, I've got Power Platform, I've got SharePoint, I've got everything. So you can see everything here that I've got access to. I've got the works, which is awesome. So it's a brilliant way to actually get learning. And then what you can do is you can create new users, and then when your family members download Power Apps, they can log on as one of those test users. So you'd give everybody a little account. Right, let's get started. So what we need to do is we need to start designing the shopping list app using Power Apps. So I'm going to go through these steps. I'm not going to read each one in detail. You can come back to this blog post and go through them step by step if you want, but because I obviously know what's on there and I don't want to bore you by reading it all. So we need to create a new Power App on the home page, and we're going to pick phone. So there's a sneak preview of what we're going to build. So I'm going to go back and leave that now. And we're going to click create blank app, and I'm going to do shopping list 3 because I've done it before because I wanted to take some screenshots for the blog post. And obviously shopping list 3, and it's phone. Now you want to pick phone because that's telling Power Apps that we want to create a screen that's suitable for a phone. Because obviously if we're going to go to the supermarket, you're not going to go around with an iPad. You want your phone there. You just want to be able to have something in your hand that you can look at the shopping list on. So I'm going to pick phone, and it's called shopping list 3. Let's go create that. Sorry, I've got a squeaky chair. Right, okie dokie. So we create the new app. Now we need to create a data source. So we need to store our shopping list items somewhere. So because Power Apps can't really store data on its own, you need a central repository, a database effectively, where you can store all the items that somebody's got to go and buy from the supermarket. There are several options in Microsoft 365. One of the most common ones is SharePoint. You can also do something called SQL Server, and you can also use the Common Data Service, which is now actually Dataverse, which I'll change that. So what we're going to do actually is we're going to pick Excel, because I'm assuming everybody watching this is probably really familiar with Excel. So we're just going to keep it dead simple. This potentially isn't the best solution. I suggest you go for something like SharePoint because it's a bit more manageable, but let's just pick SharePoint. And the idea being we're going to create, let's pick Excel. And the idea being we're going to create a little worksheet in Excel that's stored in OneDrive for Business. So it's stored in the cloud, and your Power Apps will connect to that cloud version of Excel. And when you put items in and out of it, the Excel sheet's going to change. So it's going to be really cool, this, and I think you'll really like it. So what it's saying is create a new Excel spreadsheet with quantity, item name and category in it, and then save it to OneDrive. And you must format this as a table. I'll tell you why in a second. Right, so here, I'm going to bring up Excel, and we're going to go File, New. I'll bring this up here. And what we need to do is we're going to go Item Name, we're going to go Category, and we're going to go Quantity. And that's all we need to do at this point in time. Now, remember I said format as table. This is really important because Power Apps can't really understand unstructured data, because I could have quantity over here or quantity there, for instance, and Power Apps won't be able to understand that because it's all unformatted and unstructured. So what we need to do is one little tip is just format it as a table, and the way you do that is you literally go format as a table. You give it a bit of styling if you want. You need to say my table as headers, and okay, you're done. And then what we'll do is we'll go and put one item in. So I'm going to go and put a sausages, and that's in the meat department, and we want 3 of those, and that's all we're going to do. You might want to give it a name, so let's call it shopping list table. Whoops a daisy, shop list. That'll do. Perfect, and let's go save that away, and let's call it shopping list 3, or shopping 3, don't really matter. Shoppling. Shopping, what's that? Shopping 3, boom. Save that on my downloads. And that's all we need to do. And then the next thing in that document says you need to go and upload it. So you can see I've got a couple of examples here already. So let's go and upload that from here and go open. And right, let's just double check that opens now in Excel Online. Not now, thank you. And there you go, sausages meat 3. Awesome. So now we've got a data source set up, and it's now stored in the cloud in something called OneDrive. If you're familiar with technologies like Dropbox, OneDrive is very similar. It allows you to sync your files up to the cloud so they're always backed up. Awesome. Right, so we've done that. So now we go to Power Apps. So we go to Power Apps, click Data Cylinder icon, add data, OneDrive. Okay, let's do this. Let's skip that. So this is the Power Apps Studio. Now, obviously, if you've ever used anything like an IDE before, it's very familiar. You've kind of got your controls over here, and you've got your properties over there, and you can do extra things on the ribbon at the top. So if we go click this data one, and we do add data, and we pick OneDrive, and we pick Excel Online Business because we've just stored it in Excel. And let's just pick that one. And then OneDrive for Business, OneDrive, and we want Shopping 3. And now, because we formatted that as a table and we called it shop list, we're able to connect to it. We've not done that, you wouldn't see anything here, and that's really one important step. And we connect to that. And this is also really important. It says insert auto-generated ID into an Excel table. Now, the reason for doing this, if you've ever done any database work ever, when an app talks back to a database, it always needs to, and it wants to save database or update database to delete rows, it needs to be able to And so now we're prompted to ask whether we want to insert auto-generated ID into the Excel table. So this is really important. If you've ever done any database work, you'll probably understand what this is doing. But if our app is going to create new items in the shopping list, it's also going to update them and delete them. Now imagine you've got 4 items in the shopping list because all 4 members all want bananas and they're all exactly the same. So one of the things you need to do is you need to tell Power Apps which bananas row you need to update. And the way it does that, it gives its unique ID, because obviously if you just say go and update the quantity of bananas to 16, it would probably try to update all 4 banana rows to 16, or in fact it'd probably fail. And so what the ID does under the hood, it allows it to talk back to the spreadsheet and go, actually only update the row that's got the ID of this. And I'll show you that because you'll see it once we create the actual app. So I'm just going to go ahead and say insert auto generated and click connect. Now that's all done. Next stage. So we've done that. Now we need to add text inputs, 3 buttons and a gallery. So I am not going to win any design awards for this because it's just trying to do this as fast as possible, just to show you how cool it is. Let's go create 3 of them. And then we want 3 buttons, 1, 2, 3, and then we want a gallery as vertical gallery. Awesome. So let's get off. Let's go move this right down the bottom. And then we want the buttons here. And then I want those buttons all side by side. So let's select them and let's just make them a bit smaller. Lovely jubbly. Let's stick that down there, move him across. I can't help myself. I know I don't need to do this, but I can't help myself lining stuff up. Right, let's put him down here, him there, and then him a bit lower. Now what I'd like to do, which I don't do in the guide, so this is a birdie bonus, is I want to add some labels. So this is going to be the item. And I want another one which is the quantity, and then I want another one which is going to be the what was it, category of the product. I need to move that a bit lower. That's lovely. Oh no. Oh, that'll do. Right, cool, brilliant. Now, one of the key tips here is you definitely need to rename the controls that you're going to use in the formula bar, and this is the formula bar here. So let's click on it, and we're going to give this a name because this will become really useful in a second, and you'll see why. So we'll call that text item name, and we'll call this text quantity, txt quantity, and then we'll call this txt category. Oops, daisy, category. Sorted. Right, now we need to give these a name. So this one's going to delete. This one's going to update. And this one's going to add a new item. Add. So the theory being, whatever you type in here will end up in your list and then end up into Excel effectively. So you'll see the gallery change here, which is really quite cool. I've just, the OCD in me's got to move them buttons up a bit. Just a bit more like, oh no. There we go. Lovely, lovely. Right, back to the blog post. So we've done the buttons. We've had the gallery. Click on one of the rows of the gallery and select. So what we need to do now is we need to bind this gallery here and tell it about the data it's going to show. And so we've already got one here, and it's called the Excel one because we added that at the data phase. So we just click that, and you can see actually it's brought back the meat and sausages, which is perfecto. So that's brilliant because if you look in the spreadsheet here, we've already got sausages and meat, and in here we've got meat and sausage. You probably want to change those around, but I'm just doing this for speed. That's perfect. Next up is cool. Right, now we're into some code, so I'm just going to give that a quick save, and we're into the code side of things now. It's not really code, it's formulas, so if you've ever done any Excel work, it's just like the Excel formulas. Right, so when you select the items, click on the right, so now what we need to do, this can be a little bit complicated, so I'm not going to explain in great detail, but just know that variables are temporary areas of the app where you can store data, you can shove data into and store them, and then you can pass them around, etc. So what we need to do here is go on the app, and then what we're going to say is when the app starts here, I want you to go and create me some variables. So if we go and push that down and do that, and so what this is doing here is saying create me a variable for item name, quantity and category, and put in these default values. So we're going to have sausages, Norton meat. You can see I like sausages. So when the app runs, those variables will get set. And then the next phase is, what we need to do is we need to bind the text boxes to the variable. And that will become clear when we're actually going to connect and start clicking on the gallery. So the way you do that is you go here and you go VAR. Remember, naming conventions are really important. So VAR item name is the default there, and the default here for quantities VAR quantity, and the default for category is, you get the idea, VAR quantity. Awesome. Let's give that a save. That's that bit done. So we're down to here. Now you need to set, yeah, done that. Bum, 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 bum. Now we need to set the gallery. So when we click on an item in the gallery, we need to be able to set the values of the variables equal to what we've clicked on. So when we click on here, what we want to do is we want to take those variables that we created in the app on start, and we want to change the values of them. So if we go here and we pick the on select, where have you gone? There we go. And let's pull this down and go do that. So that's perfect. We've called it gallery 1, so that's just going to work absolutely fine. So when we click on there, the variable is going to get set, and that should hopefully change those values on there. Lovely. Right, now we need to write formulas to add, create and delete. So let's do the add one, and then we'll give it a test. So let's copy that, and let's go on here and let's bind. Get rid of that. Let's bind the onSelect to this. Right, now Power Apps has thrown a wobbly. It's got this red squiggle under it, which means we've got an error. And if you hover over it, you can see the specified column category does not exist. Now this is because I don't know what you're going to call your names when I'm writing the blog post. So you need to replace these values with what you've actually called them. So my data source name was called shop list, I think. Yeah. And then we need to put shop list there. And in here we go text. Remember, I've said it's really good to give you your text boxes good names. Text quantity, and then text category. Awesome. So we could probably test that now. So what we've done there is when you click the add button, we're going to call the patch function, and this will say patch in this data source, which is actually pointed to the Excel worksheet. Pass in these values from these text boxes, which is awesome. Right, let's do it. So run it. So now we should have an item. Let's think of something. We want biscuits, and they're confectionery. Let's go for, whoops, that's quantity. We want 80 packets of biscuits, and it's confectionery, I think. And click add. And if we've done our job, let's have a look back in here. Yay, biscuits, check that out. Biscuits, confectionery, 80, that's awesome. So now we've got our Power App being added to the spreadsheet. Now, obviously I'm just doing it here on the screen, but if you imagine you've just gone down your local supermarket and you've got an internet connection and you've got your app running on your phone, you could do that. That's really, really cool. It means you're on the run and you're thinking about something. You could go and put those things in that shopping list. And you can see it's a much nicer way of putting the items in than just having a spreadsheet, because you don't want a spreadsheet on your phone. The screen's too small. Right, cool. Now we need to wire up the update. So we need to click on it and let's put this in. So what this is saying now is we need to change this, and what this basically does is when we select things from the gallery, go and update them to what we type in, what the values are in here, and I'll just give you a demo of that in a second. But we need to change these again. Type item name, text quantity, text category, and that should be, oh, we've got an error. Well, we've got an error. Let's have a look. What's gone wrong? Gallery name isn't okay. Yeah, okay, we called it gallery. We'll call it gallery 1. Let's go run it. So now if we click here, you can see what's happening. Now we have a bug there. Now I think we've got a bug because we've changed, when we on select, we're not setting the category correctly, because that's looks like it's pushing quantity through. So that should be an easy fix. I know what the bug's going to be. We've got the wrong default value, I bet. Yeah, there you go. There's the bug. Quantity. Whoops. Let's pick that and go. Let's just run that. No, I've done it wrong again. It needs to be category. There we go. So now when we click here, that's perfect. Look at that, beautiful. And if we want to go and make that 45 update, and let's just check that. That's just updated. That's absolutely amazing. So the last thing we need to do is wire up the delete, because you might have somebody in the family that absolutely loves chocolate and keeps sticking chocolate on there. So we need to be able to get rid of that. And let's just replace these values. So my real values, gallery 1, and my data source is shop list. And it's as simple as that. So when we click there, we're going to remove the item that's selected in the gallery. Whoops a daisy, I missed a dot. Lovely. So let's go and run that. So what we want to do now is we want to go and delete that one. Perfect. Let's go and add it back. Lovely. Let's go delete that one. And you can see they're getting removed from Excel, which is brilliant. And that concludes, I think we've done everything there. Yeah, that concludes the Power App. Now that's awesome. So let's get started and let's show you how to do some whizzy stuff with Power Automate. Okay, so now we've built our Power App, we now need to get in and create Power Automate flow so that we can send an email whenever anybody adds a new item to the shopping list. It's surprisingly easy, so let me just show you. So if I close that down, let's go from the start. You see on the left hand menu here, there's this kind of triangular shape. That's Power Automate. So if you just click that and click Create New Flow, and then what I want you to do is I want you to go down and click Show More Templates, and that might be different when you're looking at it, depends on how popular this is. And I want you to click a button in Power Apps to send an email. And let's give it a name of Send Email a New Item. And then I just want you to click Next, and then create the flow. And that's now going to create the flow there, which is perfect, and it's called Send Email a New Item. So now I want you to do is go to that add button there, and I want you to put a second line in and do send. There we go, on run. Now as you can see here, this takes some parameters, and the parameters it takes is the email address you want to send. So let's pick hello@collab365.com, and then the subject line would be new item has been added to the list, shopping list, and then this is the body, check out the new list as someone added an item. Obviously what you do is you probably get more advanced and you'd pass in the item that was sent from Power Apps, and also you probably want to send it to all of the family. So there would be ways to do that. I'm just trying to keep this all simple and show you the end-to-end process of how easy it is. So I'm just going to send an email, bang, 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 and that's all cool. Let's close that and let's give it a run. And I want to do add, so I'm going to do biscuits 80 confectionery, add them. Now Power Apps is whirring away, which is wicked. And let's go to Outlook. So the way I got to Outlook was literally go Outlook there, close that one down, and then go to your sent items, and there you go. It went to a new item has been added to the shopping list, check on the new list item. So that's exactly what I entered in the Power App. So you can do all manner of things in Power Automate. It's absolutely brilliant, and I check that out. So let's just go and do one more thing as an example of how powerful it is. If we go here, what we've done is, I'll just delete this just so you don't see it. And then what we can do is you can add new steps. So obviously we've got the first step here is to send the email. But if we go and add a new step, we can go and pick Teams. And let's go pick Microsoft Teams there. And what we want to do is we want to send a message into a channel. Oh, I can't find through that lot. Post a message in the chat channel. Let's go and run it as post it as me. Right, now what we want to do is go and post it into a channel, obviously. So just to refresh you of what we've got here, this is a Teams environment which I'm also using for demonstration purposes. I'm actually doing a Jumpstart challenge for Microsoft Teams. So what I've got here is sales and marketing. If this was family, you'd probably have a family channel with something like shopping list or finance management or any kind of stuff that you'd probably want to do with your family if you chose to use Microsoft Teams for that. So what we're going to do is sales and marketing. That's a channel called General. I've just tested it there. So let's have a look in monthly reports. There's nothing in there. Okie dokie. So let's go back to Power Apps and let's pick that team. So we want the sales and marketing team, and then we want to pick the channel monthly reports, and then let's pick whatever we sent on that parameter. So the same thing as we send into the body of the email is also going to get posted into a channel, which is really useful. Okie doke, so let's just save that, and then let's go run that again. And let's click add another one on add. Power Apps is now doing it, so hopefully it's sent the email. Yep, it sent the email 1420, perfect. And let's come in here and look at that 1420. Check out the new list item if someone added an item. So you get the example there. You can do a way more inside of Power Automate, and this is what I'm showing here. So you could actually see the same flow loading in here. So that's the flow I've just been creating. And you can do all kinds of things like add logic, etc. So definitely check out Power Automate. It's brill. Okay, so I hope you found that demo really useful. That's as far as I want to take it now, and I just want to bring your attention to this blog post so you can get to it on powerplatformer.com, and it's called Power Platform Practice, Build a Shopping List App for Your Family. So we've done the first two sections there, and in fact we've done section 3 as well. So we've done the Power App, we've done Power Automate, which is superb. The next thing you might want to do, which I might do in a later video if there's interest, is where you can actually visualize it inside of Power BI. So what you'd want to do there probably is add loads more items into your shopping list. Just do them manually if you like inside of Excel. And then the idea being you import that into Power BI, and then you can visualize what the most popular categories are and what the most popular products are. And that's probably all you can visualize really. It's not the best example, that's why I've not done it. But it gives you a very simple example of how you could use Power BI. It gives you that idea of this is what it's for. And then you probably want to start, once you've created all your app, you probably want to share and collaborate on the shopping list app. Now, I haven't demoed these simply because this is really quite straightforward, just follow the instructions, but you can share the Power App with your family members, which means that they can then download the app onto their phone via the Power Apps app and start to use it when they're out shopping. You can also play with roles and permissions, and your family members effectively, once this is done, you'll have a centralized shopping list that you could all use, which is cool. Obviously, like I mentioned earlier, you're probably not going to use this in production, and you've only got your tenant for 90 days. But the purpose of this thing is to get you building something real world, so you don't get bored. How would you want to improve this? Well, there's lots of things you'd want to do really going forward. You probably want to improve the user interface because it looked a bit clunky. And you'd want to load, if your shopping list was massive, you'd want to think about data load times. You'd probably want to change the back end as well into SharePoint or Dataverse. You might want to integrate with other tools and services like Microsoft To Do. Now, effectively, you could probably just create your shopping list in To Do straight off and not actually use Excel at all, but you could use the interface in the same way. Include favorite or frequented items. And again, encourage feedback, but I hope that's useful. If you find that you want to take your learning a step further, then obviously we're here at Club 365 Academy to help. We've got jump starts for Power Apps, Power Automate coming soon, and Power BI In fact, we've got a full success path now ready for Power BI, which takes you from complete and utter novice down to a pro, so you get a full certification for that as well. But if you want to find us, we're there, Club 365 Academy. Just Google it or just click one of the links on our blog posts. See you later. Ta-da.